Chapter 1. The Seeds of Division. The story begins. It is the year 1945. The Second World War has just ended. In Vietnam, the people are filled with hope. They dream of freedom. They want their country back. For many years, Vietnam had been ruled by France. The Vietnamese fought hard to win their independence. Now, they see a chance to build their own future. But hope does not last forever. A leader rises in the north. His name is Ho Chi Minh. He has a vision. He believes in communism, a system where everyone is equal and the government controls everything. To Ho Chi Minh, communism is the way to create a fair and strong nation. Many people in the North agree with him. They want change. They want a country free from foreign powers. In the South, things are different. The leaders there do not trust communism. They believe in capitalism, where people can own businesses and property. They want a democratic government, where leaders are chosen by votes. They fear that communism will take away their freedom. That country is divided, not just by ideas, but by the land itself. In 1954, a line is drawn across Vietnam. This line is called the 17th parallel. It splits the country into two parts. The North is led by Ho Chi Minh and his communist government. The South has its own leader, Ngo Dinh Diem. He is supported by the United States and other Western countries. At first, the division seems peaceful. People believe it is temporary. They think elections will reunite the country. But the elections never happen. Instead, the tensions grow stronger. In the North, Ho Chi Minh builds a powerful government. He promises to help the poor. Farmers are given land. Schools and hospitals are built. But life is not perfect. The government is strict. People who disagree with communism are punished. In the South, Ngo Dinh Diem faces many problems. He is a strong leader, but many people do not trust him. Some think he cares more about his power than the people. Others believe he is too close to the United States. In the countryside, peasants feel ignored. The seeds of conflict are planted. In small villages across Vietnam, whispers of rebellion spread. In the North, soldiers train in secret. They prepare to fight for a united Vietnam under communism. In the South, a group called the Viet Cong rises. They support Ho Chi Minh. They want to overthrow the Southern government. For the people of Vietnam, life becomes harder. Families are torn apart. Some support the North, while others stay loyal to the South. Brothers and sisters argue. Friends become enemies. The jungle hides many secrets. At night, the Viet Cong move through the dense forests. They carry weapons and supplies. They avoid the Southern Army. Villagers help them, sometimes out of loyalty, sometimes out of fear. The South fights back, but the enemy is hard to find. Meanwhile, the United States watches closely. American leaders believe communism is dangerous. They fear it will spread across Asia like falling dominoes. This is called the domino theory. To stop it, the U.S. begins to send money and weapons to South Vietnam. They want to help Diem stay in power. but their support brings more trouble. In 1963, Ngo Dinh Diem is overthrown and killed. The South becomes unstable. New leaders take his place, but they cannot bring peace. The people grow tired. The war grows closer. In the North, Ho Chi Minh makes a decision. He will no longer wait. His army, the North Vietnamese Army, begins to attack. They want to unite Vietnam, even if it means war. The division between North and South becomes deeper. Every day, more soldiers join the fight. The jungle echoes with the sound of gunfire. Villages are burned. Children cry. Mothers pray for peace, but the war is only beginning. And yet, there is courage. In the middle of the chaos, ordinary people show extraordinary strength. Farmers work in their fields, even as bombs fall nearby. Teachers continue to teach children in hidden schools. Families protect each other even when it is dangerous. The seeds of division have grown into a storm. The year is now 1965. The United States sends its first combat troops to Vietnam. The war becomes global. The world watches, but no one knows how it will end. For the people of Vietnam, life will never be the same. The story of the Vietnam War is just beginning. Chapter 2. A nation caught in the crossfire. The sun rises over a quiet village. Chickens cluck in the dirt roads. Farmers prepare to work in the rice fields. Children laugh as they play near their homes. It feels peaceful, but the peace will not last. War has found its way here. At first, the villagers do not see the soldiers. They only hear rumors. The Viet Cong are coming, some whisper. The Southern Army is on patrol, others warn. The people are confused. They wonder, who is friend? Who is enemy? No one is sure. One night, the village is woken by a strange noise. Footsteps. Many footsteps. Shadows move through the trees. The villagers stay inside their homes. They peek through cracks in the walls. They see men in black clothing. The Viet Cong have arrived. The soldiers speak calmly. "We are here to free you," they say. "The South is your enemy. Help us, and we will protect you." Some villagers believe them. Others stay silent. They are afraid. Not long after, the Southern Army comes. They march into the village with guns and trucks. They look for Viet Cong fighters. They search homes. They ask questions. "Who helped them?" the soldiers demand. "Tell us the truth." But the villagers say nothing. The army grows angry. Innocent people are punished. Homes are burned. Families are forced to leave. The villagers cry. They only want to live in peace, but now they are caught in the middle of a terrible war. Soon, the village is no longer the same. Some people leave, hoping to find safety in the city. Others stay, but they live in fear. Every night they wonder, will the soldiers come back? Will the fighting ever end? Even the children feel the war. They hear explosions in the distance. They see planes flying overhead. They know something is wrong, but they do not understand why. They ask their parents, "What is happening?" But the parents have no answers. One family faces a hard choice. The father believes in the South. He says, "We must fight the communists." The mother is unsure. She just wants to protect her children. One son secretly supports the Viet Cong. Another son joins the Southern Army. The family is divided. At night, the father and mother argue. "Why did you let him go?" the father asks, angry. "He is too young to fight," the mother cries. "I couldn't stop him," she says. "He wanted to choose his own path." The brothers meet again, but not as family. One day, the two sons find themselves on opposite sides of a battlefield. They recognize each other. Their eyes meet. For a moment, the fighting stops. But they cannot go home. The war has taken away their peace. The villagers suffer, but they are not alone. All over Vietnam, families face the same pain. Cities are bombed. Fields are destroyed. Refugees fill the roads, carrying what little they have. The war does not spare anyone. In Saigon, the capital of the South, people try to live normal lives. Shops stay open. Students go to school. But even here, the war is close. Soldiers patrol the streets. Families keep radios on, listening for news. Every day they wonder, will the fighting reach us? The Viet Cong are everywhere. They do not fight like a regular army. They use the jungle to hide. They attack suddenly and disappear. The Southern Army struggles to stop them. The jungle becomes a battlefield. American soldiers arrive to help. They are young and full of hope. They believe they are fighting for freedom. But the jungle is not what they expected. It is hot, wet, and full of danger. The enemy is hard to find. Many soldiers feel lost. In the villages, life becomes a nightmare. The Viet Cong demand food and supplies. If the villagers refuse, they are punished. When the Southern Army returns, they accuse the villagers of helping the enemy. Innocent people are trapped between two sides. One old woman tells her story. "I have lived here all my life," she says. "I grew up in this village. I raised my children here. Now, everything is gone. My home, my fields, my family. The war has taken everything." Her words are echoed by many. In the cities, people protest. They demand an end to the war. Students march in the streets. Priests pray for peace. Writers and artists speak out. But the fighting continues. Back in the jungle, soldiers face another enemy. It is not just the Viet Cong. It is the jungle itself. There are snakes, insects, and diseases. The heat is unbearable. Many soldiers fall sick. Some lose hope. A young American soldier writes a letter to his family. "Dear Mom and Dad," he begins, "I miss home so much. The war is nothing like I thought. We fight all day, but I don't know why. I just want to come home." The war feels endless. Villages are destroyed. Families are broken. The people of Vietnam ask themselves, when will this end? How much more can we endure? But even in the darkest times, there is hope. Chapter 3. America enters the fight. The year is 1965. The United States has made a decision. We must stop communism, the leaders say. President Lyndon B. Johnson looks serious as he speaks to the nation. If Vietnam falls to communism, other countries will follow. We cannot let this happen. The world watches. American troops land in Vietnam. At first, there are only a few. They help train the South Vietnamese army. They give weapons, money, and advice. But soon, more soldiers arrive. Thousands, then tens of thousands. The jungle becomes their battlefield. For the American soldiers, Vietnam feels strange. The air is thick and humid. The rivers are muddy. The jungle is alive with sounds, birds, insects, the rustling of leaves. But danger hides everywhere. The Viet Cong are hard to see. They know the land well. They use tunnels to move in secret. They set traps for the soldiers. An American patrol walks through a village. Suddenly, an explosion. A soldier cries out. The others scatter. The enemy is already gone. The soldiers write letters home. "Dear Mom," one begins, "I don't know how to explain this place. It's so different from everything I know. I miss home. I miss you, but I'll do my best here." Back in America, people watch the news. The war is on their television screens. Reporters show pictures of soldiers in the jungle. They show burned villages and crying children. The images are shocking. Many Americans begin to question the war. But the government insists it is the right thing to do. We are fighting for freedom, they say. We are helping South Vietnam stand against communism. Not everyone agrees, but the soldiers keep coming. By 1968, there are more than 500,000 American troops in Vietnam. The fighting becomes more intense. Planes drop bombs over the countryside. Villages are destroyed. The jungles burn with a chemical called napalm. It sticks to everything it touches. The fire spreads fast, leaving nothing behind. The people suffer greatly. A young Vietnamese girl runs from her burning village. Her clothes are gone. Her skin is burned. She screams, but no one can help her. A photographer captures her pain in a single picture. It becomes a symbol of the war. The soldiers feel the pain too. Many are only 18 or 19 years old. They left their homes, their families, their friends. They came to fight for freedom, but now they wonder, what are we really fighting for? In the cities, protests begin. Students gather at universities. They chant, "No more war." They carry signs that say, "Bring our boys home." The protests grow louder. Some Americans support the war. Others demand peace. The country becomes divided. In Vietnam, the war changes. The North Vietnamese army joins the fight more openly. They attack in larger groups. They use new weapons sent by their allies, China and the Soviet Union. The South Vietnamese army struggles to keep up. American soldiers face a new kind of war. It is not like the wars they studied in history books. There are no clear battle lines. The enemy is everywhere and nowhere. A farmer in the daytime might be a Viet Cong fighter at night. The soldiers grow tired. They march through the jungle, soaked with rain. They dig foxholes and wait for attacks. They carry heavy packs and even heavier thoughts. Some think of their families back home. Others wonder if they will survive. The jungles are not the only battlegrounds. In the air, American bombers fly high. They drop bombs on cities, roads, and bridges in the north. The destruction is massive, but the North Vietnamese are determined. They rebuild quickly. One American pilot is shot down. He parachutes into enemy territory. The Viet Cong capture him. He becomes a prisoner of war. Months turn into years. He writes letters to his family, but doesn't know if they will ever read them. The war seems endless. For every village the Americans take, the Viet Cong take another. For every bridge the Americans bomb, the North builds a new one. Both sides fight hard, but neither side wins. The American people grow weary. The protests at home become louder. Mothers cry for their sons. Fathers write letters to the president. "Bring our boys home," they beg. The government feels the pressure. In Vietnam, a soldier looks at the stars. It is quiet for a moment. He thinks of his family back home. He wonders if they are safe, if they think of him. He feels lonely, but also proud. He believes he is fighting for something bigger than himself. But even he has doubts. The war is not like he imagined. He thought it would be simple. Good versus evil. Freedom versus communism. But now, he sees the faces of the people. They are just trying to survive. The chapter ends with questions. Will America's involvement bring peace, or will it bring more pain? Will the war ever end? No one knows the answers. The only certainty is that the story is far from over. Chapter 4. Jungle Warriors. The jungle is alive. Birds call from the treetops. Insects hum in the thick air. Leaves rustle in the wind. But beneath the beauty lies danger. The jungle is not just a place. It is a battleground. Soldiers march through the trees. Their boots sink into the soft, wet ground. Sweat drips down their faces. Their uniforms cling to their bodies. The air is heavy, thick with heat and the smell of damp earth. The soldiers carry heavy packs. Each one holds a rifle, ammunition, water, and supplies. Their backs ache. Their legs are tired. But they cannot stop. Every step could be their last. They listen carefully. The jungle is full of sounds, but which ones are normal? A branch snaps. A bird flies away. Is it just an animal, or is it the enemy? The soldiers grip their weapons tightly. The Viet Cong are watching. They know the jungle well. They move silently, like shadows. They set traps in the paths. They dig holes, sharp spikes hidden at the bottom. The jungle is their ally. Suddenly, an explosion. A soldier steps on a mine. The blast shakes the ground. Smoke fills the air. Men shout orders. "Get down!" one yells. The others drop to the ground, hearts pounding. The jungle is quiet again. Except for the cries of the wounded. Medics rush to help. They work quickly, bandaging wounds, giving water. The injured soldier is carried away on a stretcher. The others move on, more cautious than before. The jungle seems endless. Trees stretch high above them, blocking the sun. Thick vines hang like ropes. Streams cut through the land, their water brown and muddy. It feels like the jungle is closing in, swallowing them whole. At night, the jungle changes. Darkness falls quickly. The soldiers set up camp. They eat cold rations and clean their weapons. Some try to sleep, but the jungle does not rest. Strange sounds echo through the trees. Frogs croak. Owls hoot. A distant howl sends shivers down their spines. One soldier stands watch. He grips his rifle, scanning the shadows. His eyes are heavy with sleep, but he cannot relax. He knows the Viet Cong attack when least expected. Every rustle of leaves makes his heart race. The jungle hides everything. The Viet Cong use tunnels to move unseen. These tunnels are deep underground. They are dark, narrow, and dangerous. The soldiers call them rat holes. Some American soldiers are chosen to explore them. They are called tunnel rats. These men are small and brave. They crawl into the tunnels with flashlights and pistols. Inside, they find traps, supplies, and sometimes the enemy. It is terrifying work. The soldiers face more than the enemy. The jungle itself is a challenge. The heat is unbearable. The rain comes without warning, soaking them to the bone. Mosquitoes swarm around them, spreading disease. Many soldiers fall ill. Still, they march on. They push through thick bushes, their machetes cutting a path. They cross rivers, holding their rifles high above their heads. They climb steep hills, their boots slipping on the wet ground. One soldier remembers home. He thinks of his family sitting at the dinner table. He imagines his little sister laughing. He misses her smile. He misses the cool breeze of autumn. Here, in the jungle, everything feels far away. The soldiers try to stay strong. They share stories during quiet moments. They joke to lighten the mood. But they all feel the weight of the war. They know some of them will not go home. A firefight breaks out. The Viet Cong ambush the soldiers. Bullets tear through the air. The soldiers dive for cover. The jungle explodes with noise, shouts, gunfire, the crack of breaking branches. A soldier is hit. He falls to the ground, clutching his leg. His friend crawls to him, pulling him to safety. "Hang on," he says. "You're going to be okay." The medic arrives, working quickly as the fight continues. The battle ends as quickly as it began. The Viet Cong disappear into the jungle. The soldiers regroup. They check their wounded. They count their losses. They feel relief and sorrow. The jungle does not take sides. It does not care who wins or loses. It offers no comfort, no kindness. It only watches as the war continues. In the quiet moments, the soldiers think. They wonder why they are here. They wonder if the war will ever end. They wonder if they will ever see home again. The jungle offers no answers. The chapter ends with the soldiers moving forward. They march into the unknown, carrying their fears and their hopes. The jungle surrounds them, silent and watchful. The war is far from over, but the soldiers keep going. They are warriors, fighting not just the enemy, but the jungle itself. Chapter 5. The Tet Offensive. The year is 1968. Vietnam prepares for Tet, the Lunar New Year. It's a time of celebration. Families clean their homes, they cook special food, they visit temples to pray for luck and happiness. Even in war, Tet brings hope. But this Tet will be different. The Viet Cong and North Vietnamese army have a plan. They want to surprise their enemies. They want to show their strength. They want the world to see that they will not give up. The night before, Tet is quiet. In cities and villages, people light lanterns. Firecrackers pop in the streets. Children laugh and play. Soldiers relax, believing the enemy will not attack during the holiday. Then, chaos erupts. On the morning of January 30th, 1968, the attacks begin. In Saigon, the capital of South Vietnam, explosions shake the city. The U.S. Embassy is under attack. Viet Cong fighters storm the gates. Gunfire echoes through the streets. In Hue, an ancient city, the fighting is fierce. North Vietnamese soldiers take control. They march through the streets, raising their flag. The South Vietnamese army fights back, but the enemy is strong. Buildings crumble. Families hide in fear. The attacks are everywhere. More than 100 cities and towns are hit. No place is safe. Hospitals, schools, and markets become battlegrounds. Soldiers rush to defend their positions. Civilians run for their lives. The world watches in shock. News reporters film the destruction. They show images of burning buildings and terrified families. They show soldiers fighting in the streets. These images travel across the world, bringing the war into people's homes. An American soldier writes in his diary, "I've never seen anything like this. They hit us everywhere all at once. We weren't ready. We're fighting back, but it's chaos. I don't know how this will end." In the countryside, villages are destroyed. The Viet Cong move quickly, attacking small towns. They burn houses and cut off roads. They try to isolate the South Vietnamese army. Many villagers lose everything. A mother carries her child through the chaos. She clutches him tightly, her face pale with fear. Around her, people scream. Smoke fills the air. She prays for safety, but she does not know where to go. The battle for Saigon rages on. Viet Cong fighters hide in buildings. U.S. and South Vietnamese soldiers search for them. The streets are filled with gunfire. Helicopters fly overhead, searching for targets. One soldier risks his life to save a friend. A grenade lands nearby. Without thinking, the soldier jumps on it, shielding his friend. He is badly injured, but survives. His bravery inspires those around him. The fighting in Hue lasts for weeks. The North Vietnamese army refuses to leave. The South Vietnamese and U.S. forces fight street by street. Tanks roll through narrow roads. Artillery shells explode in the distance. The people of Hue suffer greatly. Thousands are killed. Many are forced to flee. Others are taken prisoner. When the battle finally ends, the city is in ruins. The ancient buildings are gone. The people are left to rebuild their lives. For the Viet Cong and North Vietnamese army, the Tet Offensive is a bold move. They hoped it would inspire an uprising in the South. But the South Vietnamese people do not rise up. Instead, they fear the destruction and violence. For the U.S. and South Vietnam, the Tet Offensive is a turning point. They win back the cities and towns, but at a great cost. Many soldiers die. Many more are wounded. The people at home begin to question the war. An American mother watches the news. She sees images of her son's unit under attack. Tears stream down her face. "Why are we still fighting this war?" she asks. "When will it end?" In Washington, leaders face hard questions. The Tet Offensive shows that the enemy is still strong. U.S. officials had said the war was almost over. Now, people doubt them. Protests grow louder. The country becomes more divided. A Vietnamese farmer returns to his village. His home is gone. His fields are burned. He kneels on the ground, staring at the ashes. He feels anger, sadness, and hopelessness all at once. The Tet Offensive leaves scars. For the people of Vietnam, it is a time of loss. Families are torn apart. Homes are destroyed. Cities are left in ruins. The war feels endless, but there is also courage. Soldiers fight to protect their comrades. Villagers help each other rebuild. Medics work tirelessly to save lives. Even in the darkest times, the human spirit endures. The chapter ends with uncertainty. The Tet Offensive has changed the war. It has changed how the world sees it. But will it bring peace, or will it bring more suffering? No one knows. The story continues. Before we begin Chapter 6, a quick note for our listeners. You're currently listening to this audiobook on Woo English. Remember, this content is specially made for Woo English listeners only. If you're hearing it on any other channel, it may be a violation of Woo English's rights. Please ensure you're tuned into the right source to fully enjoy and respect this audiobook journey. Now, let's continue the story. Chapter 6. Life at Home. Back in America, the war is everywhere. It is on television screens. It is in newspapers. It is in the hearts of families with loved ones overseas. The Vietnam War feels far away, but its impact is close. People are divided. Some believe the war is necessary. They say, "We must stop communism." Others disagree. They call it a mistake. They ask, "Why are our young men dying in a war we cannot win?" The protests begin small. A few students gather on college campuses. They carry signs that say, "Stop the war." They sing songs about peace. They call for an end to the fighting. But the protests grow louder. In cities across the country, thousands march through the streets. They chant, "Bring our boys home." Police try to control the crowds. Sometimes violence breaks out. A mother watches the protests on TV. Her son is a soldier in Vietnam. She feels torn. She wants her son to be safe, but she also wants him to come home a hero. She whispers, "Why can't there be peace?" Soldiers return from the war. They step off planes, looking tired and worn. Families wait at the airport, holding signs and flowers. Some cry with joy. Others cry with relief. But not all soldiers are welcomed. Some people blame them for the war. They shout, "Baby killers," at the returning troops. The soldiers feel confused. They thought they were fighting for their country. Now they feel rejected. One young man returns to his hometown. He walks down the streets he grew up on. Everything looks the same, but he feels different. The war has changed him. He cannot forget what he saw, what he did. He tries to talk about it. But his friends don't understand. They ask, "What was it like?" He struggles to find the words. He says, "It was hard," but that is not enough to explain the pain inside. Families feel the weight of the war. A father watches the news every night. He hopes for good news but hears only about more battles, more deaths. He worries for his son. He stays awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering if his boy will come home. A young wife writes letters. Every day she waits for the mailman. When a letter comes, she reads it again and again. She holds it close, as if it brings her husband back to her. Not all families are so lucky. Some receive a different kind of letter. It comes in a black envelope. Inside, it says, their loved one has died in the war. The grief is too much to bear. At school, children hear about the war. Their teachers talk about Vietnam. The kids ask questions. Why are we fighting? When will it end? The teachers try to explain, but the answers are not simple. Television brings the war into living rooms. Every night, Americans see images of soldiers in the jungle. They see bombs falling on villages. They see children running from danger. The war feels closer than ever. Musicians write songs about the war. One song becomes famous. Its words say, "All we are saying is, give peace a chance." The song plays on the radio, in homes, in cars. It becomes the voice of a generation. In Washington, the government feels the pressure. Leaders argue about what to do. Some say, we must win this war. Others say, we must leave Vietnam. The country feels divided, not just about the war, but about its future. The protests reach their peak in 1969. In Washington, D.C., a massive crowd gathers. Hundreds of thousands march to the Capitol. They hold candles and signs. They demand an end to the war. But the war continues. Soldiers still fight in Vietnam. Families still wait at home. The protests go on, but so does the suffering. The nation feels stuck, unable to move forward. A veteran sits alone in a diner. He drinks his coffee slowly, staring out the window. He remembers his friends who did not make it back. He feels proud to have served, but he also feels angry. He wonders, was it worth it? In small towns, people show quiet support. They send care packages to the troops. They write letters of encouragement. They hang yellow ribbons on their trees, a symbol of hope for the soldiers' safe return. But not everyone agrees. At dinner tables, families argue. A father says, "We have to win." His son replies, "This war is wrong." The arguments end in silence, but the tension remains. In churches, people pray for peace. They light candles and bow their heads. They ask for an end to the fighting, for the safe return of soldiers, for healing in their divided nation. The war affects everyone, even those far from the battlefield. A factory worker hears about a neighbor's son who died. A student sees his older brother leave for Vietnam. A mother wonders if her youngest boy will be drafted next. Life at home is full of fear and uncertainty, but there is also hope. Some people believe the war will end soon. They believe their country can heal. They believe peace is possible. They hold on to that hope, even when it feels far away. The chapter ends with a question. Can a divided nation find unity? Can a country at war find peace? The answers are not clear, but the people keep hoping, praying, and fighting for a better future. Chapter 7. Voices of Vietnam. The sun rises over a small village in Vietnam. The morning should be peaceful. Birds sing in the trees. Smoke rises from cooking fires. But the people are not at peace. Fear lives in their hearts. A mother wakes her children. "Stay close," she whispers. Her voice shakes. She ties their shoes quickly. They must be ready to run. She looks outside, scanning the road. Is it safe today? She cannot be sure. The war is everywhere. Soldiers march through the village. First, it is the Southern Army. They demand food. They take rice from the farmers. They say it is for the soldiers fighting the Viet Cong. Days later, the Viet Cong come. They knock on doors. They also demand food. They take chickens and vegetables. "Help us," they say. "We are fighting for you." The farmers are stuck. If they help one side, the other side will punish them. A farmer watches his field burn. His rice was almost ready to harvest. He worked hard, bending over in the sun, planting each seed by hand. Now, it is all gone. A battle broke out near his farm. Bullets and bombs destroyed everything. He falls to his knees. His hands dig into the dirt. He feels anger. He feels sadness. But most of all, he feels helpless. How can he feed his family now? In another village, children hide. They crouch under tables. They press their hands over their ears to block out the sound of gunfire. Their mother holds them tightly. She whispers, "It will be over soon." But even she does not believe her own words. A young boy looks up. "Why are they fighting?" he asks. His sister shakes her head. "I don't know," she says. "I just want it to stop." The boy hugs his knees to his chest. He misses playing outside. He misses feeling safe. The war does not care about age. It does not care about families. It does not care about homes or fields or dreams. It takes everything in its path. A grandmother sits by the river. Her face is lined with age. Her eyes are tired. She remembers a time before the war. Back then, the village was quiet. Children played by the water. Farmers brought their harvest to market. People laughed and sang together. Now, she hears only silence. Except for the occasional cry of a child or the distant sound of gunfire. The world she knew is gone. One night, the village hears footsteps. The Viet Cong move through the shadows. They call for young men to join them. "Fight with us," they say. "Help us win freedom." Some boys step forward, proud and brave. Others are afraid but follow anyway. A father pleads with the soldiers. "Please," he says, "don't take my son. He is all I have left." But the soldiers do not listen. They take the boy, leaving the father standing in the dark, tears streaming down his face. The next day, the Southern Army arrives. They accuse the villagers of helping the Viet Cong. They demand answers. "Who gave them food?" a soldier shouts. "Who helped them?" The villagers stay silent. They are too afraid to speak. The soldiers grow angry. They burn homes. They arrest men and women. The village is left in ruins. The people are left with nothing. Despite the pain, there is also hope. In a small hut, a mother holds her newborn baby. She looks into the child's eyes and whispers, "You will see a better world." Her voice is soft, but her words are full of determination. The people try to rebuild. Farmers plant seeds in the ashes of their fields. Women sew clothes from scraps of fabric. Children carry water from the river. Life is hard, but they keep going. An old man tells stories by the fire. He speaks of heroes who fought to protect their land. He speaks of neighbors who helped each other in times of need. The children listen, their eyes wide. The stories give them courage. In the cities, refugees arrive. They come with nothing but the clothes on their backs. They sleep in crowded rooms. They beg for food and work. But they are grateful to be alive. One woman opens her home to the refugees. She cooks large pots of rice and soup. She shares what little she has. "We must take care of each other," she says. Her kindness spreads hope among the weary. The war tests the people's strength, but it also shows their resilience. They sing songs to lift their spirits. They pray for peace. They hold on to each other, even when the world around them is falling apart. A farmer stands in his field at sunrise. The air is cool. The sky is pink and gold. For a moment, the war feels far away. He takes a deep breath and picks up his tools. He knows the work will be hard, but he refuses to give up. The chapter ends with a question. How long can the people endure this war? How much more can they lose? Yet, even in their darkest moments, they hold on to hope. The voices of Vietnam are quiet but strong. They will not be silenced. Chapter 8. A War Without Borders. The Vietnam War was no longer just about Vietnam. It spread like wildfire, crossing borders into Laos and Cambodia. The conflict became larger and more dangerous. The jungle was no longer a safe place. No one was safe anymore. The Ho Chi Minh Trail was the key. It was a secret network of paths and tunnels. The North Vietnamese used it to move soldiers and supplies. The trail stretched through Laos and Cambodia, deep in the jungle. It was hidden by thick trees and leaves. The United States wanted to destroy the trail. American planes flew over Laos and Cambodia. They dropped bombs, hoping to stop the flow of weapons. Villages were destroyed. The jungle burned. The people were caught in the middle. A farmer in Laos looks to the sky. The sound of planes roars above him. He grabs his children and runs. Moments later, the ground shakes. Bombs explode, tearing through his rice fields. He falls to his knees, staring at the destruction. In Cambodia, the war grows darker. The Viet Cong and North Vietnamese army hide in Cambodian villages. They use the land to plan attacks on South Vietnam. The U.S. decides to act. Secret missions are launched. American soldiers cross the border. They move quietly through the jungle. They search for enemy camps. They destroy weapons and supplies. But the missions are dangerous. The soldiers know they are not supposed to be there. A soldier writes in his journal, "Today, we crossed into Cambodia. It feels strange, like we're breaking the rules, but the commanders say it's necessary. I just want to get home safely." The people of Cambodia suffer. Their homes are caught in the crossfire. Soldiers take their food and burn their villages. Families flee, carrying only what they can. The war is everywhere. A young boy hides in the jungle. He holds his little sister's hand. They hear footsteps and voices. Soldiers are near. The boy covers his sister's mouth to keep her quiet. They wait, hearts pounding, until the soldiers pass. In Laos, the secret war continues. The U.S. sends more bombs. These bombs fall on villages, roads, and fields. The people call them steel rain. They bury the dead and rebuild their homes, only to see them destroyed again. A woman in Laos finds an unexploded bomb. She knows the danger. Many people have been killed by these hidden bombs. She carefully moves her children away. She prays that someone will come to remove it before it can harm her family. The war spreads fear. It also spreads anger. In Cambodia, a leader named Pol Pot rises to power. He blames the war for his country's suffering. His followers, the Khmer Rouge, grow stronger. Pol Pot has a dark plan. He dreams of a new Cambodia, one without cities or modern life. His soldiers take control, forcing people to leave their homes. They destroy everything they see as a threat. The conflict spirals out of control. In Laos, Cambodia, and Vietnam, the war touches everyone. Farmers, teachers, children, soldiers, no one is spared. The jungles, once full of life, are now battlefields. An American pilot flies over Laos. He looks down at the burning jungle. He feels a deep sadness. What are we doing here? He wonders. How did it come to this? The war becomes harder to understand. There are no clear lines between friend and enemy. Villages that once felt safe are now dangerous. Trust is rare. The people just want the war to end. In Washington, leaders argue. Some say the U.S. must continue the fight. Others say it is time to leave. The war is costing too much: money, lives, and trust. The nation is divided. Back in Cambodia, a village is raided. Soldiers storm the homes looking for Viet Cong fighters. They shout at the villagers, demanding answers. A young man steps forward. "Please," he says, "we know nothing." The soldiers do not believe him. The young man's family watches in fear. They cannot protect him. The soldiers take him away. His mother falls to the ground, crying. She does not know if she will ever see him again. The war feels endless. But even in the darkest times, there is courage. A group of Cambodian women hide orphans in their homes. They risk their lives to protect the children. Their bravery inspires hope. In Laos, monks pray for peace. They light candles and offer food to the poor. They speak of kindness and forgiveness. Their words bring comfort, even as the bombs fall around them. the jungle itself fights back. The land is damaged by bombs, but it does not give up. Trees grow back, rivers flow, animals return. The jungle hides its secrets once more. The people keep surviving. In Cambodia, a woman rebuilds her hut for the third time. In Laos, a farmer plants seeds in his burned field. In Vietnam, children laugh as they play in the ruins of a school. The chapter ends with a question. How far will this war go? Will it ever stop? The answers are not clear, but the people of Laos, Cambodia, and Vietnam hold on to hope. They hold on to each other. Chapter 9. Courage under fire. War brings destruction, pain, and loss. But even in the darkest times, there is light. Amid the chaos, there is bravery. A soldier lies injured on the battlefield. The air is thick with smoke. Bullets fly overhead. He cries out for help, his voice weak. His friend hears him. Without thinking, the friend runs through the gunfire. "Hang on!" he shouts. He reaches the wounded soldier and lifts him onto his shoulders. The weight is heavy. His legs tremble. But he keeps moving, step by step, until they are both safe. This is courage. Medics show courage every day. They are the unsung heroes of the war. They carry no weapons, only medical supplies. Their job is to save lives, even when their own lives are at risk. A medic runs to a fallen soldier. The soldier is bleeding badly. The medic works quickly, his hands steady. Around him, the battle rages on. He does not look up. His only focus is the man in front of him. "Stay with me," he says. He applies a bandage and gives the soldier water. He signals for help, and together they carry the soldier to safety. The medic wipes his brow and moves to the next wounded man. In the villages, bravery takes a different form. A young woman hides her neighbors in her home. The soldiers are coming, searching for Viet Cong fighters. If they find the neighbors, they will punish them. The woman hears the footsteps. Her heart races. She whispers to the neighbors, "Stay quiet." The soldiers knock on her door. She opens it, forcing a smile. "There is no one here," she says calmly. The soldiers look around and leave. She has saved their lives. Children show courage too. A boy carries water to soldiers hiding in the jungle. He moves quickly, keeping to the shadows. He knows the enemy is near, but he does not stop. The soldiers thank him, their voices filled with gratitude. In the cities, courage looks different. A teacher continues her lessons in a damaged school. The roof has holes. The windows are shattered. But the children sit in their seats, eager to learn. The teacher holds a book in her hands. "Today, we will read about heroes," she says. Her voice is steady, even though she feels afraid. The children listen closely. For a moment, they forget the war outside. Soldiers in battle rely on each other. One soldier covers his friend as he moves forward. Another shares his last bit of water. In the middle of chaos, their bond grows stronger. They are more than comrades. They are brothers. A group of soldiers is trapped. They are surrounded by the enemy. Their radios do not work. They are running out of ammunition. One soldier steps forward. "I'll go for help," he says. The others protest. "It's too dangerous." But the soldier insists. He crawls through the jungle, careful to avoid enemy patrols. His heart pounds in his chest. Hours later, he reaches help. His courage saves his entire unit. In the air, pilots show courage. An American pilot flies low to rescue wounded soldiers. His helicopter shakes from enemy fire. "We're almost there," he says. His voice is calm, but his hands grip the controls tightly. The soldiers climb aboard. The helicopter rises into the sky. Bullets follow them, but the pilot stays steady. He lands safely, and the soldiers cheer. The pilot smiles, knowing he has done his duty. Bravery is not always loud. Sometimes it is quiet and unseen. A mother hides her children in a small underground shelter. She sings to them softly, her voice steady, even though tears run down her face. A doctor works tirelessly in a hospital. The building is overcrowded. Supplies are running low. But he does not stop. He stitches wounds, sets broken bones, and comforts the dying. His hands are tired, but his heart is strong. A soldier stands guard at night. The jungle is silent, but he knows the enemy could be near. He grips his rifle, his eyes scanning the darkness. He is scared, but he does not let it show. His courage keeps his comrades safe. Bravery inspires others. A young girl sees her father rebuilding their home. The walls were destroyed by bombs, but he does not give up. He lifts bricks and mixes cement, one small step at a time. "We will rebuild," he says. His determination fills the girl with hope. She picks up a hammer and begins to help. Together, they create something new from the ruins. In every corner of the war, there are heroes. A soldier carries his injured friend. A villager hides refugees. A pilot risks his life to save others. Their actions remind us that even in the darkest times, courage shines bright. The chapter ends with a reflection. What drives people to be brave? Is it love for their friends, their family, their country? Or is it something deeper, a belief that even in war, humanity must endure? The answer may never be clear. But their bravery is undeniable. Their courage lights the way through the darkness, giving hope to those who need it most. Chapter 10. The Fall of Saigon. The year is 1975. The Vietnam War is coming to an end, but not in the way many hoped. The North Vietnamese army is on the move. They march south with determination, their goal clear: Saigon, the capital of South Vietnam. In the streets of Saigon, there is fear. People hear the news of the advancing army. Families whisper about what will happen next. Some pack their belongings, ready to flee. Others stay, unsure where to go. The North Vietnamese army grows closer. They capture cities one by one. Da Nang falls, Nha Trang falls. The South Vietnamese army tries to fight back, but they are outnumbered and out of supplies. The enemy is too strong. The final days of Saigon are chaotic. In the city, the U.S. Embassy becomes the center of attention. American helicopters fly in and out, rescuing people. The embassy gates are crowded with South Vietnamese families begging for help. A mother holds her child tightly. "Please," she cries to the guards, "take us with you." Her voice is desperate. The guards look at her with sadness. The helicopters are full. Not everyone can be saved. Inside the embassy, phones ring constantly. U.S. officials work quickly, making plans to evacuate. Papers are burned. Files are shredded. Outside, the noise of the crowd grows louder. Time is running out. The North Vietnamese army reaches the edge of the city. Tanks roll down the roads. Soldiers march in formation. Saigon prepares for the inevitable. The government collapses. South Vietnamese leaders flee the country. At the airport, people try to escape. Planes are packed with passengers, sitting on the floor and even in the cargo holds. A father looks out the window as the plane takes off. Below, he sees the city he loves disappearing into the distance. On the rooftops, helicopters arrive. People climb ladders, trying to reach them. Some make it. Others are left behind, their hands stretched out in despair. The sound of rotors fills the air, mixing with the cries of the crowd. A young soldier helps an old man. The old man is slow and tired, but the soldier stays with him. Together, they reach a helicopter. The soldier lifts the man inside, then climbs in himself. The helicopter rises, leaving the chaos behind. Not everyone escapes. A woman watches as the last helicopter flies away. Tears run down her face. She holds her son close, whispering, "We will survive this. We have to." Her voice trembles, but her resolve is strong. The morning of April 30th, 1975, arrives. The North Vietnamese army enters Saigon. Tanks break through the gates of the presidential palace. Soldiers raise their flag, marking the end of the war. The city falls silent. People stay inside, afraid of what will come next. They listen for the sounds of soldiers on the streets. Some pray. Others simply wait, their hearts heavy with uncertainty. For many, the war is over, but the struggle is not. Families are separated. Refugees flee on boats, braving dangerous waters. Some reach safety, others are not so lucky. The ocean becomes a new battleground, full of risk and heartbreak. One family boards a small boat. The boat is crowded and leaks water. A young girl clings to her mother, her eyes wide with fear. The mother sings softly to calm her. The waves rise and fall as they drift into the unknown. In Saigon, life changes quickly. The North Vietnamese take control. Schools teach new lessons. Streets are renamed. People suspected of supporting the South are sent to re-education camps. These camps are harsh, filled with hard labor and strict rules. A former soldier stands in a camp. He looks at the mountains in the distance. His body is tired, but his spirit is strong. "I will survive this," he tells himself. "I have to." For those who escape, life is also difficult. Refugees arrive in new countries with nothing. They must learn new languages and build new lives, but they carry the pain of leaving their homeland behind. An older man sits in a small apartment. He looks at a photograph of his family. It was taken before the war, when life was peaceful. He touches the picture gently, remembering what he lost. Even in heartbreak, there is hope. In refugee camps, children play together. They laugh and run, finding joy despite their surroundings. Their laughter gives their parents strength. Years later, survivors share their stories. They speak of bravery, loss, and the will to survive. They tell of friends who helped them, strangers who showed kindness, and the courage it took to keep going. The fall of Saigon marks the end of the Vietnam War. But the memories remain. The people of Vietnam carry the scars of the conflict. They remember the lives lost, the families torn apart, and the lessons learned. The chapter ends with a reflection. The war is over, but its effects are not. How do people rebuild after so much loss? How do they find hope after so much pain? The answers are not simple, but the human spirit endures. Chapter 11. The World Reacts. The Vietnam War has ended, but the world is far from calm. The fall of Saigon in 1975 marks the end of the fighting, yet the effects of the war ripple across continents. People everywhere feel its impact. Refugees flee Vietnam. They leave their homes, their belongings, and sometimes even their families. They board crowded boats, hoping to find safety. The journey is dangerous. Many face storms, hunger, and pirates. Some never make it. A family huddles together on a small boat. The father rows tirelessly, his hands blistered. The mother holds her baby, whispering prayers. The older children sit quietly, staring at the vast ocean. They dream of a better life, but the future is uncertain. In the United States, people ask questions. The war cost billions of dollars and claimed thousands of lives. Many wonder, was it worth it? Soldiers return home, but not to parades or celebrations. Instead, they face anger and indifference. A veteran walks through his hometown. He sees familiar streets and faces, but he feels like a stranger. He carries memories of the jungle, of battles, and of friends who did not return. He asks himself, why did we fight? The war divides America. Some blame the government for its decisions. Others blame the protesters for weakening the country's resolve. Families argue at dinner tables. Politicians debate in Congress. The wounds of the war run deep. Across the globe, nations react. In Asia, the victory of North Vietnam inspires other communist movements. In Cambodia, the Khmer Rouge takes power, leading to more violence and suffering. In Laos, the scars of the secret war remain. In Europe, the war sparks reflection. People question the role of powerful nations in smaller countries. They wonder about the cost of war and the price of peace. Leaders debate how to prevent such conflicts in the future. In Vietnam, the rebuilding begins. The country is united under one government, but the challenges are immense. Cities are in ruins, villages are empty, the jungle still hides unexploded bombs. The people work hard to start again. A farmer plants rice in a burned field. His hands move quickly, placing each seed in the wet soil. He remembers the war, but he focuses on the future. We must rebuild, he says to his son. This is our home. The stories of refugees reach the world. They tell of families separated, of boats lost at sea, of hope and survival. These stories move hearts. Some countries open their doors to refugees. Others hesitate, unsure of how to help. A young boy arrives in a new country. He does not speak the language. He does not understand the customs, but he smiles politely, holding his mother's hand. Together, they begin a new life, far from the war. The lessons of Vietnam echo loudly. The war teaches the world about the limits of power. It shows that even the strongest nations can face defeat. It raises questions about intervention, responsibility, and the human cost of conflict. At the United Nations, leaders discuss peace. They talk about avoiding future wars. They create programs to help countries recover. But the memories of Vietnam remain, a reminder of what happens when peace is lost. In America, artists and writers tell the story. Movies, books, and songs about Vietnam appear. Some show the bravery of soldiers. Others focus on the pain of war. All of them remind people of what was lost. A filmmaker interviews a veteran. "What do you want people to know?" she asks. The veteran pauses. His eyes fill with tears. "War is not what you see in movies," he says. "It's real, it's hard, and it changes you forever." In Vietnam, people honor the fallen. They visit graves and light incense. They share stories of loved ones who fought and died. The older generation teaches the younger ones about the war, hoping they will learn from the past. A teacher speaks to her students. "War brings destruction," she says, "but it also shows us the value of peace. Let us remember the past so we do not repeat it." The world learns about resilience. The people of Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia rebuild their homes and their lives. Refugees create new communities in foreign lands. Soldiers find ways to heal their scars. In a small Vietnamese village, a market reopens. The stalls are filled with fruits, vegetables, and fish. Children run between the stalls, laughing. The people smile, grateful for the simple joys of life. The chapter ends with a reflection. What did the Vietnam War teach us? It showed the strength of the human spirit. It reminded us of the importance of peace. It left scars, but it also planted seeds of hope. The world must decide, how do we move forward? How do we honor the lessons of the past? The answers may not be simple, but they are worth seeking. Chapter 12. Lessons of the Past. Decades have passed since the Vietnam War ended. The jungles have grown back. The rivers flow quietly again. But the scars of war remain, both in the land and in the hearts of those who lived through it. In Vietnam, people remember. The streets of Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City are bustling with life. Markets are busy. Children play in schoolyards. But the past is never far away. Visitors come from all over the world. They walk through museums that tell the story of the war. They see photographs of battles, letters from soldiers, and the remnants of bombs. They hear the voices of those who suffered. A young traveler stands before a wall of names. These are the names of those who died. He feels a lump in his throat. So many lives lost, he whispers. He wonders what their dreams were, what their futures could have been. Veterans return to Vietnam. Some fought for the North. Others fought for the South. A few are American soldiers who came back to find peace. They visit old battlefields, now overgrown with trees and grass. One veteran kneels by a tree. He touches the ground gently, remembering a friend who died there. "I've carried this pain for so long," he says. His voice is soft, full of emotion. The Vietnamese people rebuild their lives. Farmers plant rice in fields that were once battlefields. Children grow up hearing stories from their grandparents. The country moves forward, but it does not forget. A teacher speaks to her class. "War brings destruction," she says, "but it also brings lessons. We must learn from the past to create a better future." The children listen carefully, their eyes full of curiosity. The world has learned, too. Leaders study the Vietnam War, trying to understand what went wrong. Historians write books and give lectures. They hope to prevent such conflicts from happening again. In America, veterans share their stories. They speak at schools, libraries, and community centers. They talk about their experiences, their fears, and their hopes. Their words are powerful, teaching young people about the cost of war. An older man stands before an audience. "I was just a boy when I went to Vietnam," he begins. His hands tremble slightly as he holds the microphone. "I saw things no one should ever see, but I also saw bravery, kindness, and love. In Vietnam, old bunkers and tunnels become historical sites. Tour guides lead visitors through the Cu Chi tunnels. They explain how the Viet Cong lived underground, hiding from bombs and patrols. The tourists listen, imagining the fear and determination it took to survive. A woman from Europe writes in her journal, "Today, I walked through the tunnels. It was dark and narrow. I can't believe people lived there for so long. Their courage is beyond words. Families across the world search for closure. Some visit the graves of loved ones who never returned. Others leave flowers at memorials. They hold on to photographs, letters, and memories of those they lost. A mother holds a faded picture of her son. He was just 19 when he went to war." She strokes the photograph gently, her eyes filled with both sorrow and pride. "He believed he was doing the right thing," she says. "The Vietnam War teaches the value of peace. It shows the world that victory is not always about winning battles. True victory comes from understanding, compassion, and unity." A group of students visits Vietnam. They sit with a farmer who lived through the war. He tells them about his life, about the fear he felt, and the hope he held onto. The students listen closely, inspired by his resilience. In the years after the war, countries work together. They create programs to clear landmines and rebuild homes. They send doctors to treat those still affected by injuries and illness. Slowly, the wounds begin to heal. A young boy runs through a field in Vietnam. He chases a butterfly, laughing as it flutters away. His grandmother watches from the porch, smiling. The field was once a battlefield, but now it is full of life. The lessons of the Vietnam War reach far and wide. It teaches the importance of listening, of respecting other cultures, and of avoiding unnecessary conflict. These lessons shape policies and inspire peace movements around the globe. A journalist writes an article. The Vietnam War was one of the most painful chapters in modern history, she writes. But from that pain came understanding. From the ashes came hope. Artists create paintings and music about the war. They capture its sadness and its strength. Their work reminds people of the human cost of conflict and the beauty of peace. In a small gallery, a painting hangs on the wall. It shows a young soldier helping a wounded friend. The brushstrokes are soft, the colors muted. A visitor looks at it for a long time. "This is what war is," he says quietly. The chapter ends with a message. History is a teacher. It shows us where we went wrong and how we can do better. The Vietnam War reminds us that peace is always the greatest victory, and so the world remembers. It remembers the courage of soldiers, the resilience of civilians, and the lessons learned. It honors the past while building a future where such pain is never repeated.